duty is to ensure that the meeting is being conducted according to the agenda and the members uphold the values of the club. To conduct the meeting effectively, I have a team of 4 people: the I timer, the I grammarian, the I filler counter, and the I finds master. And next, I would like to introduce them. So first up, I would like to call upon our I grammarian, Mayura B.
Good afternoon, Chair, ALIP club members, and our special guest. My name is Mayura Bharat. I am very pleased to be the I grammarian for this meeting. As the I grammarian, my job is to pay attention to your vocabulary, grammar, idioms, and phrases used during the meeting. I will submit a report at the end of the meeting, and I am privileged to give 3 points to any one person or share it among members who have used some exceptional language in this meeting.
Thank you, Mayura. Next up, I would like to call our I filler counter, Nitin.
Good afternoon, Chair and I club members and our special guest. My name is Nitin. I am pleased to be the I filler counter for this meeting. As an I filler counter, I will take notes of your filler words such as so, you know, and right, as well as subject repetitions used by the speaker. I will give the report at the end of the meeting.
Thank you, Nitin. And next we have our I timer, Shangeet.
Good afternoon, Chair and our EP Club members and our special guest. My name is Sangeet. I am very pleased to be the I timer for this meeting. As the I timer, I'll record the time for your main activities during the meeting. I'll show 1 finger before your allocated time, 2 fingers at the end of your allocated time, and 3 fingers if you continue for more than 15 seconds after your allocated time. I'll present a report at the end of the meeting.
Thank you, Shangeet. And lastly, we have our I finds master, which is Mayura I.
Good afternoon, Chair, ILOOP club members, and our special guest. My name is Mayura I, and I'm very pleased to be the I finds master for this meeting. So in my role as the I finds master, I will take note of all your mistakes made during this meeting, and I'm also privileged to give 3 points to any one person or share it among members who have behaved exceptionally well and followed the ILOOP club rules during the meeting. I will also give a report at the end of the meeting. Thank you.
Thank you, Maria. So today's meeting theme is being committed. The meeting today is divided into the following 8 sections: our guest speaker, prepared speeches, prepared presentations, I think on my feet, case study, I quiz, I serene joke, evaluations. So without further ado, let's get this meeting started. It is my pleasure to introduce you all to our guest speaker today, Subajini Jayasekaran. Subajini Jayasekaran, former architect of UNICEF's Better Business for Children's initiative, has a remarkable passion and is a strong advocate for child's rights and protection. With over 17 years of experience working in Asia, Africa, and headquarters with UNICEF, Subajini has played a key role in the development of the children's rights and business principles. From managing a child protection program in Eastern Sri Lanka to leading a reintegration program for child soldiers in North Sudan, to working as a child's rights and business manager in Switzerland with programs in 18 different countries, Subajini Jayasekaran is quite the outstanding woman. Yet her work still doesn't stop here. While this year was supposed to be a year of reflection to travel and spend time with her family, the pandemic said otherwise. So instead, Subajini has begun to explore virtual travel and has just recently launched Nyano, a travel platform that connects with organizations around the world focusing on sustainable travel. In addition to this, Nyano has also launched an online travel summer camp for kids. I can't wait to hear about her journey through public speaking and finding her voice. So without further ado, can we all give another warm welcome of applause to Subajini Jayasekaran.
Thank you so much, Thanuja. That was amazing. And to all of you, I'm super impressed, Anu, at the quality and caliber of presentations here. Can I just ask, you've mentioned time a lot, so I'm like, how much time do I have?
You mentioned you wanted 60 minutes, right? So 205. Yeah.
Perfect. Excellent. All right. So great. Thanks so much, guys. So I wanted to start today actually by getting to know all of you a little bit better before jumping into my own personal story. And I had a little activity to maybe help me understand what you guys have been doing around public speaking and what you think about it. So I wanted to do, maybe we could do like a quick tour to Zoom over here. And if you could tell me your name and something you love to do, but then also talk about a time when you actually spoke to a group and what was one thing you were feeling as you did that and what you loved about doing that. Does that make sense? So like, just tell me your name, an example of when you were speaking to a group, and I want you to think about how did you feel when you were speaking to that group? Yeah. All right. So shall we start with Thanuja? Because you appear top on my screen there.
Sure. Okay, so my name is Thanuja. One thing I like to do, or a couple of things I like to do, is I like to sew, I like to play basketball, and I like to swim. And so one time I remember, so we were presenting spoken word poems in front of like the whole intermediate group, right? So grade 6, 7 to 8. And one negative thing I guess you could say I was feeling is my whole stomach was like butterflies, my hands were sweating, like just standing up there in front of all these people. But then one thing I enjoyed is, I guess about halfway through it, I started to feel more comfortable, and then I started to feel more confident in the way I was speaking. And I think I did a pretty good job.
Excellent.
Yeah.
So I like that the the sort of feeling when the moment when you feel really comfortable and confident, and also when you walk away saying, I nailed it. I did a good job. Yeah. Okay, cool. Sangeet.
Hi, my name is Sangeet. Some things I like to do are play soccer and many sports. I also like to sing and play many instruments. One time I presented to an audience was when I was I wanted to be like a class president. So we were doing like we we were doing like speeches, and like at least like 5 people wanted to do it, and when I went, I was very scared and nervous, and like halfway through I was like not really speaking properly, and then at the other half I started speaking normally, and then and one thing that I thought I did good was that most people wouldn't have done what I did, since they would have been too nervous. Yeah.
That's such a lovely story, Sangeet. Yeah, just even getting up to do it makes you feel like I achieved something, right? To have made that attempt. Absolutely. Thank you. Mayura?
There are 2 Mayuras, so
Mayura. Oh,
yeah.
Mayura I guess, kind of going down here.
Hi, my name is Mayor I. I really like to read a lot. I've gone through way too many books because of the pandemic. And I just started taking up painting, which is fun.
Sounds amazing.
Yeah. The first time that I kind of spoke to people was in grade 6, I think. And that was when we had like a speech arts competition. I felt confident at first, because I'd written something that I was passionate about and I wanted to share it with people. But just, I think the moment of sitting there and waiting for my turn was really nerve-wracking. But as soon as I got up, I just said what I'd practiced. I said it with my emotions. And I really felt like I nailed it. I was really proud of myself with that. Yeah, it was exhilarating.
Thank you. I sort of feel that part that you're saying is like when you've practiced it and you know what you're talking about, it makes it so much more easier because you know, you really know what you want to communicate. No, excellent. Nitin? This is one Nitin, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Hi.
Hi, my name is Nitin. I like to play basketball. One time, like an example of speaking to a group was for a science project, like a huge science project with a big mug.
Mhm.
At the beginning, when I got up and he called my name, I felt a little scared. And then as I went on, I felt less scared since no one was like talking while I was going. I felt a little more confident I was doing it.
And you got more comfortable. Yeah, excellent. Thank you, Nitin. Mayura?
Myra B.
Mayura B.
Hi, my name is Mayura B. I love to play sports and binge watch on TV. And an example of me speaking to a group is when I did the speech arts competition at our school in grade 6. I was nervous since the person before me, we also had a slide presentation, so we also had to control the clicker, I guess. I don't know what it's called, the clicker. And plus we had cue cards, plus we had to hold a mic. So the person in front, the person that was like before me, she dropped her cue cards and she felt embarrassed. So I thought something bad was going to happen to me too. But that was a nervous feeling that I had. But at the end, I guess I didn't mess up, and I felt proud to do the speech arts competition.
I love that. I love how, you know, there's this sense of pride and achievement when you've done it. But I also, I have one of the things that I'm going to show you is something also in terms of what happens when you have an embarrassing moment. And I'd like to share with you an embarrassing moment that I had on stage. So we'll get to that. I think embarrassing moments can also be really interesting if you can spin them correctly. Okay, thank you, Mayura. Dahlia?
Hi, my name is Dahlia, and I like to play basketball and soccer. I also like to read. An example of me speaking in a group was we have annual public speaking competitions at my school, and this time we did it virtually, and I was supposed to go second, and I kind of felt scared, but then I realized I was talking something I've always wanted to talk about, and like I wanted to like tell people what it's wrong and right to do, and then I started feeling more confident in myself afterwards.
I love that. I mean, that's so important what you just said there. Like when you talk about something you love and when you have a message to share, then it becomes a lot easier because it's not someone else's piece of writing or something you're memorizing. It's coming from your heart. I love that. Thank you, Dahlia. So you've got Kavya and Madhuran together. So maybe Madhuran first or Kavya first.
So my name is Madhuran, and
Hi.
one thing I like to do is playing video games. And an example of a time when I was speaking to a group was a science project we did in grade 9, where we were in groups of 2 and we had to debate about an environmental topic. So I think me and my partner did like a lot of good research, but we were feeling really nervous at the beginning. But then like as we went on, we were starting to have more fun with it than we probably should have, to the point where we almost ended up like shouting at each other. But overall, it was like really fun time.
Thank you, Mother. And I think that concept of fun, we shouldn't underestimate it. You should be having fun on stage, absolutely. And when you're enjoying yourself, then your audience is going to be enjoying it as well. Thank you. Kavya?
So my name is Kavya, and I really like to read. I don't really prefer any specific genre. I'm all over the place. One time I had to speak in front of an audience I had to speak at an assembly, and it was for grade 4 up to grade 8. And I had to speak about like indigenous rights and stuff like that. So I wanted to make everyone think, but it was a really large audience with and like a really large age group. So I didn't know whether I could make everyone like feel the way I wanted them to feel. But I was really passionate, and at the end I felt really good that I got my message across, and I made even just a few people like think about the issues surrounding that. And yeah.
I love that. I think you said something super important there, because ultimately public speaking is not about us speaking. It's about us connecting, and it's about us making people walk away with something new to think about, and thinking about and feeling new things as well. And I think you really captured that quite beautifully. You know, it is, we shouldn't forget our audiences in the process of that. Khadija, thank you. Hi, Khadija.
Hi, my name is Khadija. I really like to draw and paint. One time when I was, I was in grade 6 and we had this speech contest. I was quite nervous because the person who went before me did super well and I felt like I would do bad in comparison. But then I realized that you can't control how good another person does, and I worked hard on it. So that made me feel a bit better.
You know, I love that. It's such a beautiful message, because ultimately it's like, we're not comparing ourselves to other people. We have a message to say, we've researched it, and we need to say our message, you know, and lovely. Shin?
Zen?
Hi, my name is Zen. I like to read. One time we were doing a Black History Month project, and one of it was like an oral presentation. I was really scared, so my hands were sweaty. I when I say stuff, like I didn't say it like properly because I was too scared. But then halfway through, I felt like nothing. So yeah.
So halfway through you felt okay, is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
There's a bit of a theme here where, you know, we go into these experiences and we're often nervous and we're often scared, but you kind of push past the fear, and then you get to a place where you really see what can be nice and, you know, make you feel confident, comfortable, feel like you've accomplished, and be proud. Thank you. Deshawn?
My name is Deshawn. I like to play Legos and play baseball. Once I had a big presentation that I had to do that affects most of my mark. I had to do it in another language.
Wow.
And I was afraid that I might mess up. But I started to speak, and then I just kept on talking and trying to do it slow, nice, so everyone could hear it, to not rush it. And I did good. It just felt good to get it over with.
Deshawn, I think there can't be anything more challenging than having to do public speaking in another language, and it sounds like you nailed that. And I love how you were so aware of whether your audiences were understanding you or not, and you were moderating, you know, how fast or how slow you were speaking to really make sure that connection wasn't lost. Congratulations. Ashwin?
Hi, my name is Ashwin, and what a big experience for me was when I was at school. I took a summer class where I have to talk in another language, and I had to do a speech. That speech accounted for a lot of marks, and at the time I wasn't really good at the language, so it was very hard for me because I didn't know if I was doing good or not, and so I was very nervous, so that affected me.
But you still did it.
Yeah.
Yay. Thanks, Ashwin. And then is it Inan?
Hi, my name is Inan, and I like to play soccer and basketball and do coding. An experience for me, public speaking, was at school when I was in grade 4. I had a speech arts presentation, so I practiced a presentation like 5 or 6 times the day before, and I got very nervous that I would mess it up. So yeah, and then at the end I did pretty good, and I was proud that I did it and I got it over with.
Wasn't that lovely, that feeling of being proud and that you did it?
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Has everyone gone?
Yeah.
I think Mayura, I moved to Mayura switched position on my screen, but I think that's her at the bottom. So great, excellent. You know what, you guys, I have to say that I didn't have any of the experience you guys have had, and I think like together you've come up with like some amazing, top tips for public speaking, and being able to communicate your message. So thanks so much for sharing your stories with me, and I'm super excited to have this opportunity to share my story with you. And what I was thinking that I would do is actually share 3 stories of me and public speaking, and then kind of think about what are some of my top tips or key messages for you. And then end with us watching a video together of myself doing this speech, and you can tell me all the things I'm doing wrong and and maybe some of the things that I'm doing right. Does that sound good? Does that sound like a plan? Yeah, excellent.
Yeah.
Okay, great. So I actually came to Toronto when I was in grade 9. So I grew up in the Middle East, and I only came here when I was in grade 9. And the 3 stories that I want to tell is a story from high school, a story from when I was in university, and then a story from and some stories working with UNICEF. And all of them have to do with public speaking. And I think it's through these experiences that I kind of realized how much I love public speaking, because it is true. I do enjoy. I'm waiting for my TED Talk moment, guys. It's all building up to that TED Talk moment. So one day we'll get there. But yeah, so I think it was in high school, which was my first time to realize that, oh, I might actually enjoy this public speaking thing. I remember being in a high school club meeting, and it wasn't like that there was a lot of people or audiences. I had been in Canada for maybe 2 or 3 years. So you can imagine I was a new immigrant. I was a refugee. I was the ultimate geek. I have some really funny pictures of myself from high school, big glasses, totally wrong wardrobe and stuff. Not cool at all. And I joined this club because I was really passionate. It was a history club, or I can't remember now. And we were trying to plan an event. So it wasn't even a speaking event. It was just a club meeting, and there was like 10 people in the room, and everyone was talking, and it was crazy. So I remember taking the chalk and like, okay, guys, let's just write down what we're agreeing on here and what's the plan. And as I was writing on the blackboard, I remember saying something kind of a little bit like, haha, this is silly or something. And suddenly everyone was laughing. And I turned around and I was like, the first time in my life as a new immigrant in Canada, I was like, oh my gosh, people are laughing, and they're not laughing at me. They are laughing with me. This is kind of funny. This feels funny, but it also feels really nice. Like, it's like, maybe I am a funny person. Like maybe I can do this kind of speaking to audiences and groups. So that was my like first aha moment at high school, that this is actually maybe something that I would enjoy. Um, and from there, I went to university. I went to U of T, and one of the things that happened when I went to University of Toronto was I joined a group called CanTide, which is the Canadian Tamil Youth Development Center. They're still around, so some of you may be familiar with them. And they were brand new when I joined them. They were like, we were just starting up. And one of the first things that I did was to have to go to high school. So I would go to visit different high schools along with a colleague, and we would have to talk to a whole bunch of high school students. And sometimes that would be 50, 60 kids in a room. And then I think that's really where I realized I enjoy doing this. And I don't think of it as public speaking, because I guess maybe I think more of it as just connecting with audiences. When we went to the high schools, I remember the first time we went, I had no clue why we were going. I was just told, okay, we're going to these schools to meet these kids. And I'm like, okay, cool, we're going to the school to meet these kids. And I remember we were in this auditorium, and my colleague had like these remarks that he was reading, and the kids were making a lot of noise. And there were especially like these boys at the back of the class who were like heckling and kind of making fun, and they didn't want to be there, and they thought they were the cool kids and they didn't have to listen. And it was really quite noisy. And so then my friend looked at me and said, okay, do you want to say something? I'm like, okay, I don't know what I'm saying, but I got up and I said, hey, everybody, be quiet, or something like that. And the kids all turned around because my voice was really loud. And I remember looking at the boys at the back who were making all of the noise. And I said to them, so what do you guys think of what we're talking about? And I think that really surprised them, because they weren't expecting that anyone was actually going to ask them their opinion about what was going on. And they didn't think that people would actually care to listen about their opinion about what was going on. And suddenly they went from being part of the problem to now being part of the solution, because they were engaged and they were talking and they were contributing to the conversation we were having. And I think that was, for me, the first time where I felt that speaking is actually also about listening, and it's about connecting with your audiences, and it's a two-way process. Often when I would go to these schools to speak with these kids, we'd go into the audiences, like you'd have the mic and it'd actually go in and use your physical presence, not just standing away from them, but to actually get into the group. And it's something that I learned at the time at university, and then I just kept going on and doing it. And I've done it always. Whenever I have been speaking, I have always tried to remove the barrier of a stage or whatever it is that stops me from connecting into the audience. And I much prefer going into the audience and connecting and asking people where they are and talking to them from where they are, and sharing those. So I feel like that was a wonderful experience because of that. And another funny story that I can share, sometimes you guys talked about how nervous you got when you were speaking, right? Because you're afraid, like, oh my God, what would the audience say? We had some very difficult crowds to work with when we went to these schools, because we were working also with youth gangs, and some of these kids were in youth gangs, and they thought they could say anything and do anything they want. And I used to have this thing with my teeth. You can't see it now because I got a great dentist who fixed it up, but I used to have these stains on my teeth. And I remember once we went to this meeting, and the boys at the back said, Akka, and I don't know, some of you might know what Akka means. It means elder sister. And so the guys at the back were like, yo, Akka, why are your teeth funny like that, And you would think that you're just about to speak and someone has like just called you out on one of your most vulnerable spots, And I know that I used to be super sensitive to the fact that my teeth had those stains. And so when these kids like shouted, yo, why are your teeth like that? I don't know, like I think my brain went into a freeze, but then suddenly I just said, because you were supposed to ask me that question. And suddenly, you know, like, because I answered that way, I didn't show fear. I didn't show like, you know, oh my gosh, you guys have got power over me. And I just said, the reason I have these teeth was so that one day you could ask me the question, why are my teeth like that? And then they just started laughing and they found that so funny. And suddenly they were on my side, you know, and they weren't against me, they were with me. And I think that's, again, sort of another moment where I feel like, you know, speaking is about trying to break those barriers between you and your audiences and to connect. And sometimes your audiences can put up those barriers. So these boys, they wanted to act out, they wanted to be problematic, and they wanted to put up a barrier between me and them. But in reacting by not being mean back to them, but actually making it a whole joke, I think we were able to take down those barriers. So it was something that I've always kind of taken with me, and I think it was a great lesson for me doing that at university. And I think it's so cool that all of you guys have these different clubs and public speaking experiences. I would encourage you to continue to do that, because I feel like my opportunity to work at UNICEF was really because of my involvement in these groups with causes that I totally believed in, like, you know, and working with young people was something I really, really believed in. And I kept doing while I was high school, university, wherever, and you get those opportunities, right? So yeah, so my third story for you guys is, you know, after university, I was really fortunate. There's a program in Canada, and it still runs now, called Junior Professional Consultants, and you can apply to be an intern with UNICEF. And I remember crossing my fingers, hoping that I would have the chance, and I did, and I was one of the lucky people that got chosen to be an intern. I went and started working with UNICEF in New York, first of all. That's where UNICEF is headquartered. But then after that, I always wanted to go to Sri Lanka. It's where my parents were from, and I desperately wanted to go there. So I sent my CV in with everybody who was going to our Sri Lanka UNICEF office. And eventually I did end up going to work with UNICEF in Sri Lanka, and I had a lot of fun doing it. Deshaun, you talked about having to do speeches in a different language. That was my first time trying to speak in Tamil. And my Tamil wasn't that great because I never learned it at school. Oh, sorry, yes, CV is resume. Yes, thank you. I would have to get up in front of like these government officials. Sometimes we would be in villages and we'd have to talk to the people in the village. And I would use my like Tamil that my mom taught me, which is basically like, can I get food and can I go to sleep and I love you, mommy. So that's my vocabulary in Tamil. And suddenly I have to talk about, you know, child protection and organizations and NGOs. And I'm like, but it didn't matter because I would throw in a lot of English words, and as long as people were understanding and as long as you had this big smile on your face, they were very forgiving, and you know, they took it all in. And I think that was for me also something super special to go back and work with UNICEF in Sri Lanka, because I could speak or I could understand and again connect with these people in a way that perhaps I wouldn't have in other cultures as easily. And I really enjoyed being able to meet new people in this way and make those connections and share their stories and hear their stories and you know, hear our stories as well. And after I worked with UNICEF in Sri Lanka, I got the chance to actually go work with UNICEF in Sudan, which is one of my most memorable experiences. I love that so much. People always think of, what do you think of when you think of Sudan? Have you heard of Sudan? Do you know where Sudan is? No, you guys, aren't they teaching you African geography? Any guesses where Sudan is? Yes, Mayura?
My mind kind of went to like a desert place.
Yeah.
Maybe?
It does, yeah, there are large parts of it that are desert, but there are also very fertile parts. Jin?
Middle East.
Very good. So it's kind of close, it's North Africa, and a part of the culture there is much linked to the Middle East. So you have the northern Sudan is Muslim, Arab, sort of not Arab, but yeah, Muslim cultures. Inam?
I was gonna say Africa.
Yeah, it is in Africa. That's right. It's in the north of Africa. Do you guys know where Egypt is?
Yeah.
You've all heard of Egypt. Okay. So Sudan is the country right under Egypt. And what's cool is that the Nile River, if you look at the map, actually goes into Egypt from Sudan. So there's like a blue Nile and a white Nile, and they meet in Sudan and they join to become one Nile that goes up to Egypt. So it was amazing to work in Sudan. And I think one of the things that I learned is also just, even though they speak a totally different language, they speak Arabic in some parts and what they call Jubric in another part. I felt like I could always make the connection because I was always trying to find ways to feel like, you know, with our audiences, that what is it that I have in common with you? We had a funny thing because there was a civil war going on in Sudan, not anymore, and they had a rebel army there called the Sudanese People's Liberation Army. And you know, when they heard that I was Tamil and from Sri Lanka, some of the soldiers from the SPLA would be like, "Oh, we know you guys have the LTTE. They are cool fighters," you know. And I'm like, okay, but there was that connection, you know, and being able to relate in that way. And some of the most amazing experiences I've had. The Sudanese people are so hospitable, really, really very hospitable and very welcoming. They always offer, like, you know, even if you're walking down the beach and people are having their picnics, they will always say, come and join us for our picnic, even though you're a total stranger. It was one of those places I felt that humanity and that sense of human welcome to others is still very strong and powerful. But so anyways, what I wanted to kind of summarize here is that when going through all of these experiences, and I was trying to say, well, what would be some top tips that I could share with you guys? So just based on what I've said, do you feel that there's something that's pretty obvious kind of running through all of my stories here as a top tip? Mayura?
Do your best to take down the barriers of your audience and connect with them.
Absolutely, yeah. Inam?
I was gonna say connecting with the audience.
Yeah, exactly. I think that to me, speaking is about connecting. It's always been about connecting. And I think that's why I love speaking. And you know, those moments when you guys said, yeah, I nailed it. For me, it's like I nailed it because I can feel like that connection, that energy between me and the audience. And I feel like, wow, you know, I could say things and this audience will get it. We have that connection and it's almost palpable. You can feel that energy there. And that's why sometimes people say, you know, when you're doing speaking, try to think of your audience as naked. Have you guys heard of that trick? Yeah. Has anyone used that trick? No. Oh,
I didn't use it. I was going to ask a question.
Okay, I think I would just be like, I don't know where to start with thinking about you guys naked, you know. But Anu, you
when I first started, that's someone gave me that as a. I remember it was in university, and someone told me just think of people naked. I was like, well, that's kind of gross, but it'll make you laugh. Trust me. I'm like, okay, and I actually just went up thinking, okay, this is what I'm going to think. This is what I'm going to, and I partially forgot the speech because of that, because I was busy laughing. I was like, oh my God.
Yeah, so I people have said that, and I think I just always wondered, like, I think I would get too lost in picturing people naked, like, you know, and I wouldn't even know where to start. So don't worry. So I don't know, but I also felt that, you know, part of all those things and the reason we're so nervous is because maybe we think our audience is different from us and we think they're separate from us and we think that, you know, they're going to be judging us. And I feel like if you take it from the point of view of actually focusing on how do I understand my audience? How do I connect better with them? What are they feeling? What are their issues that I can tap into so that I can actually make a more meaningful message? I think you're in a better place. And that's always been my approach. And I think it's worked super well. Another tip that I would share, so I think that would be my big, overarching tip. And then all the other things that I'm going to share are really about how can we connect better with our audiences. So what's one strategy I used just now in the last few minutes that I was speaking of? Or any other strategies just in the way I've been speaking, maybe you guys have picked up on? How did I structure this speech? Or discussion or whatever. Yes, Tanuja?
Like right in the beginning, you told us what you're going to cover throughout your speech. You said like 3 stories, my top tips, and then a video which we're going to talk about at the end.
Okay, excellent. So yes, I did. I think it's always really good to give your audiences what is the road you're going to travel so they can follow you more easily. But I think the more important thing that I want you guys to walk away with is tell stories. And no matter where I have spoken, so sometimes I had to make speeches to donors and potential funders who could be giving us money, or companies who we wanted them to partner and work with us. I've always found that when you tell stories, you're going to connect much better with people than if you have a PowerPoint with a lot of facts that you're just reading from. Sometimes I do use PowerPoints. I tend to put a lot of pictures on there and very few words if I am going to use it. But then then I'll stop and I'll use it to turn around and of course, sometimes you have to do these things and, you use the PowerPoints, but I feel that when I do that, the audience is kind of maybe bored or sleepy. But then once you start telling a story, and when you tell a story that comes from your own experience, and if you can find a way to make that speech be, in such a way that you can share a story from your personal experience, people are so much more engaged. So I would say if you do have a speech to make, try to find a way to bring a personal story in. So when I do presentations for our business to get a corporate audience about why they should work with UNICEF, it was so much more powerful if I could say, I went to those factories, or I went to those villages and I met a child who said this, or I experienced a mom who was crying because she couldn't feed her child. And if I could say that, that would be more powerful sometimes than me saying, we do programs in the villages which are about, feeding and school feeding programs, and we do da-da-da and da-da-da and da-da-da, and they would zone out. But if you can say, I met a mom and this was her story, and she talked about how she never saw her child for a year, then, and you can feel it. You can feel the goosebumps in your hair when you tell your story, and they feel it too. And I think then that's so much more powerful connection. So I think as human beings, we didn't have PowerPoints long time ago. Historically, we have always told stories. Narrative is a big part of how human society was created. And if you go back to indigenous communities, or like ancient civilizations, before there were writing, there were stories. And I think we should always be able to tap into that because it's at the heart of who we are as a people. Okay, was there something else that I said which was about physical? I think I mentioned in one of the stories, maybe in university. There, anyone? Yeah? Oh, Anan, and then maybe Tenuja. Was Mayura, did you have your hand up? Oh, okay. So Inan?
Is it when the kids at the back were bullying you for your teeth, or like they said that?
Yeah, that's true. And so I was able to connect with them, but there was a physical thing that I had mentioned about using your body. Yeah, Mayura?
You said that you hate when you have a stage or when you're separated from the audience and you want to go into the audience and stand next to people and try and find them.
Yeah. exactly. I think you should not just rely on your words, you should also use your physical presence and be very conscious about how you use your physical presence. So that's why I often either have no mic, or if I have a mic, I kind of really like to jump off the stage and walk into the audience. I like in meeting rooms when it's a U shape, sometimes they set up the meeting room, so I always ask them to set it up in a U shape, because you can walk into the middle of that circle and have people all around you, and you're engaging and say, so what do you think? Or what do you think, and bringing them into the story that you're sharing as well. So it's not just about you saying something to them, but you use your body to also send messages that we're not separate. I'm not standing up here distant from you, not understanding you, removed from you, but actually that you are using your presence to kind of go in, and connect much more closely as well. So use stories to connect with people, but also use your physical presence to move in and connect with people as well. Okay, one last thing that I'd like to sort of, put there, because I think this has always been super helpful for me, is when you do your speeches, a couple of you mentioned like you have a message, right? Was it Mayura you said that? Talk about something you love and like what's the message you have to share? I feel that sometimes when people go wrong with the public speaking is when they feel like, oh my gosh, I have all this in my head and I need to make sure that you guys know all of it. And I have to have hundreds and hundreds of facts that I know because I did all this research and I need to share it with you. And the thing is that people aren't going to remember it. They're not computers, and I think it's much more constructive if you actually approach your speech or you approach your presentation thinking about what is one to three ideas that this audience can walk away with. If they're going to walk away with something, what's at least one idea, maybe two, or one to three ideas that you want them to walk away with. And I think when you do it that way, then you're much more likely to be successful, that they walk out of the meeting actually remembering those one to three things, So for example, when I was thinking about what do I present to you guys, I said, what is one to three things that I want you guys to walk away with remembering? And I hope, that one thing is connect to people. And if there's a few more things that you remember, it's tell stories, use your body, and think of a couple of things you want your audience to walk away with. And I think it's really important there. I said one to three ideas, not one to three facts, because I don't believe presentations are about sharing facts. I think there are other ways you can share facts. That could be an infographic. It could be like in a school lecture where your teacher is trying to make you learn facts. I think talking and presentation are about ideas. And so you need to be able to think, what is the most important idea that I have to share with everybody here today? And what is that? And how do I use a story to illustrate that? Or how do I use a statistic to illustrate that? But at the heart, what is the idea that they need to walk away with? Right? And so that would be my top tip. If ever you're doing a presentation, just think about that for a few minutes, and think about at the end of my speech, if I was to go meet somebody and they say, wow, I loved your speech. I loved this idea, blah. You want to make sure that they got that idea. Yeah? Is that cool? Makes sense? Okay, cool. And then, I think, of course, all of there's so much stuff. Have fun, enjoy the moment, be authentic, be vulnerable, be yourself. All of these things to me are at the heart of connecting. And there's, it's about ultimately making that link to your audience. So I will stop there, and we have about 10 minutes. Do you want me to show the video quickly, or we can just have Q&A for a bit? What do you guys want to do?
You guys want to do Q&A? I did share the video over email to you guys. I don't know if you guys had a chance to see it. I didn't tell them they needed to see it. So why don't we do Q&A and then we'd go to the video?
That sounds cool. Okay.
Yeah.
Ina wants to do Q&A. All right, so shoot.
And Q&A, they can also ask about your career with UNICEF, anything. So it's open. If you guys are curious about, hey, how'd you get into UNICEF? That's totally open here. You can ask those questions. Or how can I'm in high school. How can I'm a social activist. I know Mayura she's into the social activism. Okay, I'm not saying she wants to join UNICEF. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying if that is a question that you want to ask, how can I carve my path? I know Subha did talk about some of the ways she carved her path, but if that's a question, definitely about her experience within UNICEF, totally open to talk about all of that. So definitely ask.
Okay, great. So Inan?
Can we say comments as well? Instead of
yes, please do. I love comments. Okay. Oh, okay.
Were you going to comment, Inan?
All right. You know how you're saying just picture like people naked? How you saying before?
That you could.
Yeah. No, it just reminded me of a SpongeBob episode where someone made him glasses, which pictures everyone in their underwear.
I think that would traumatize me.
Thank you for sharing that, Inan. If you're really stuck, you could get those SpongeBob glasses.
Not in this class. I won't allow it in this class.
Yes, Mayura.
So as Ms. Anu was saying, I'm really struggling from getting from like school to where I can use what I want to do as like a work kind of thing. So how did you kind of bridge that, and when did it start becoming more of like a sustainable career? It's like
So my advice on that is I did things because I love them. So it sounds like your social activism comes naturally. It's not like you're like, oh, I want to go to UNICEF. It's no, I want to help kids, or I want to make this difference and make this change in the world, right? And if you want to make a difference, you want to make a change, then it's so easy to find like clubs to join at school. You know, I remember at high school, I was in Amnesty International. I was in Students for Students, all kinds of different activities that I was volunteering at. And then when I got to university, you know, what I was passionate about was this whole issue of gang violence in the Sri Lankan Tamil community. And I just was horrified and I wanted to do something about it. And I think I spent maybe half the time studying and half the time campaigning and working with this group and reaching out to young people. And I wasn't getting paid. I did it because I just felt it had to be done. But the reality was that after school, when I finished university and started to apply for things, the fact that I had done the volunteering, and it wasn't just volunteering like in a, you know, you go to a hospital and volunteer and they tell you fill out these forms. You know, when we were volunteering with Kentide, we were actually organizing things like we organized the school mentorship program. We organized, you know, these awards. So we actually had a lot of chance by working in a small organization to do a lot more than you would in a big organization. And we ended up, like, I was featured on TV and a newspaper article and all of these things because of the work we were doing. And when I applied for the internship, I think that just came out naturally. Like it showed that you actually did things because you love them. And with or without the internship, with or without UNICEF, I would still always be doing these things because it was who I was, you know. And I think that recruiters can see that very easily, whether you are someone who's doing volunteer activities just because you want to get the job or because you just have to do it, you know. So maybe Tenuja and then Mayura B, is that right? Yeah. Okay.
Is it true that you spoke in front of a queen?
Yes. I feel I'm so lucky because I was just thinking, I had the chance in my life to meet Desmond Tutu at university and give him flowers. And he's such an icon of the South Africa, movement there. I had the chance to brief Mary Robinson. Actually, I appreciated meeting Mary Robinson, who was former president of Ireland and also chair of the Human Rights Council, more than the Queen, because Mary Robinson is such a smart, inspiring, wonderful woman. And I took a risk and invited her to one of our events, and somehow she ended up coming, and my boss was like, okay, I didn't think we were going to get Mary Robinson, but we are, and since you took that risk, you can go pick her up at the airport. I was like, and I got her favorite sandwich. I talked to her secretary, and she got in the car, and it was just me and Mary Robinson in the car, President Robinson. And I gave her a briefing so that she could get on the stage and speak on behalf of UNICEF, and she nailed it. She memorized everything I told her, and at the end she was like, I had a great debrief. I was like, oh my God, Mary Robinson debriefed her really well. So yeah, and then yes, the video I wanted to show you was speaking in front of the Queen of Sweden, talking about some of the work we did. So working with UNICEF has given me some incredible opportunities that I would never have otherwise got. Was it Mayura B and then Sangeet? Yeah, Mayura.
What inspired you to work with UNICEF?
I never started out wanting, I didn't even think about UNICEF. I think after I finished university, I was like, oh my gosh, what am I going to do with my life? But I think what was my biggest motivating factor was I wanted to go to Sri Lanka. I'd spent my whole life being curious and wondering about this country where I'm from, where my parents are from, and where this war had a huge impact on my identity, my psyche, and I desperately wanted to go there. And so I started applying for all these NGOs and opportunities which would take me to South Asia. And I didn't get any of them. So I was like, oh, I didn't get all those NGO opportunities, but then I got this opportunity to go work with UNICEF in New York. And I have to say I was disappointed because I wanted to go work in India somewhere or Sri Lanka. I would have been jumping over the moon. I was like, oh, okay, I'll go work with UNICEF in New York. But it actually turned out to be the best thing because that was the start of a almost 20-year career with UNICEF. And I just feel just incredibly privileged. So I never started off wanting to work with UNICEF. I wanted to go work in Sri Lanka. That was my motivation.
But that was your ticket to Sri Lanka.
And eventually it became my ticket to Sri Lanka because once I got into UNICEF, I was like, oh, how do I figure out a way to get to where I really want to be, which is which is Sri Lanka. It wasn't UNICEF in Sri Lanka, it was just Sri Lanka. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And that's really molding your career path. And that's something that you guys really need to take into consideration. Sometimes you don't get what you want immediately, but whatever you get, mold it to get to wherever you want it. So whatever your destination is for that particular point, you can mold it.
Absolutely. Yeah. Sorry, just on that, Anu, I think one other thing that I've always found when I've made career switches and transitions, because I've made a couple, even within UNICEF, I changed the fields that I was in. You can be very smart about how you do that. So when I applied for the internship with the United Nations Association of Canada, I actually had no experience working with the UN or on human rights or whatever. A lot of people who would have been applying would have done those model UN things and everything. I just worked on Tamil refugee, new immigrant, youth gang issues. So what I did was I actually quickly signed up for a human rights course so that I could put it on my CV and then applied for the job. So yeah, those are easy tips I would always use. It's not cheating.
Is this the junior professionals consultants that you were talking? That's in right. United Nations.
It's the UN Association of Canada. It's based in Ottawa, and they run the JPC program. Before it used to be funded by the government, and now it's again with the new government being funded, so that's good.
And you said it's JPC?
JPC.
JPC, yeah, Junior Professional Consultants. Okay.
Shangeet?
As I heard from your stories, I noticed that in most of your speeches to connect with other people, you like had like a joke at the start.
Yeah.
At each presentation. But my question is, how would you connect with others if your joke doesn't work that well?
Yeah. But you know, you won't know if your joke's going to do well or not until you tell your joke, right? So, yeah, and I think sometimes I've had jokes that fall flat, but there's always one or two people in the audiences that laugh and that get it. So I think it's not to take yourself too seriously. Like, you know, who cares? Like, I guess it's okay, because I'm sure everybody has that understanding and feeling of maybe saying things that not everybody connects with, right? So I think to me, telling jokes is to make fun of myself and not to take myself seriously. And I'll show you the clip. Is actually, there is a moment where I, even in front of the Queen, make a joke about myself. So, you know, and I don't know if the Queen laughed, but you know, I still did it. And people know, they sense your confidence too. To make fun of yourself takes a bit of confidence, I guess, too, right? So, yeah. Okay, questions? Is that Deshaun putting a hand up, or nope, yawning, stretching? Okay, Mayura?
What does Nainam mean, and what do you do in Nine?
Oh, Nyanam? Yeah, okay, cool.
Oh, no.
Nyanam, yes. So Nyanam is made up, I was trying to figure out a name for the company and I was desperate. So I stuck two words together, which are two Tamil words. Nyalam means the earth and Payanam means a journey. So Nyalam, Payanam, I squished it together and made Nyanam, which means to journey the earth. And maybe I can also quickly show you guys our fun camp that we do, where you get to meet, like, basically my son and I were supposed to go on this round the world trip, and instead 2020 is not the year to take a round the world trip, apparently. And I got stuck here, you know, in Toronto, going around my room, and I was like, I'm going crazy. And we decided to do this company and this camp, and it's super cool because we've connected up with some amazing travel organizations. And so it's a 5-day camp. It's from 9 to 11 from Monday to Friday. And on Monday, you get to go to Peru and you visit the Inca Trail and Machu Picchu. How many of you guys want to do Machu Picchu? Yeah, I do. And on Tuesday, you get to go to Hyderabad, India, and you know, learn about this cool city, which was where the oldest diamond mines in the world are. And you get to do some really amazing Indian art. On Wednesday, you get to meet Vikings from the Jorvik Viking Museum in the UK. They're super cool. And on Thursday, we go to Kenya, where we meet with a Maasai warrior, an actual live Maasai warrior from the Maasai tribe in the Maasai Mara, which is the African savannah, the East African savannah, and you get to learn about animals and all of these things. And we just have a few weeks left in the camp, guys. So if any of you want to get involved, basically I'm like, you know, pay what you can at this point. I just want people to have fun at the camp. So please, I mean, Anu, if any of them want to do it, just send you a message and you can forward it to me.
Yeah,
We're
yeah,
off
for sure.
discounts, but I think if you guys are really keen to do it, and even if you can't afford it, that's fine. Just let me know. You've been such great participants. I'm happy to provide that offer to you. Yeah? Yes, Inan.
So you guys are you and your camp are going around the world basically, or is it like?
No, it's on Zoom.
It's on Zoom. So we do it online. Oh, look, we have someone creeping into my presentation. Do you want to join?
I already did class.
This is a different class. Do you want to say hi?
Hello.
That's my niece. Okay, I'll tell you what, Shalia. Shall we quickly do the two
The
videos?
video.
I just wanted to show the moment, the embarrassing moment, because I promised you that. Here we go. This is when I was doing this speech. Can you guys see this?
Yep.
Okay, cool. So in front of the Queen.
So I welcome him.
I'll give you my name.
Yes.
It's a very long Sri Lankan name, so I'm not going to challenge you with that. My name is Subajini, and I'm working with UNICEF. So, Your Majesties, Excellencies, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to try in the next 5 minutes to provide a quick overview of the principles, their structure, and some of the key elements, so that hopefully you will be able to better understand and better follow the very rich panel that we have coming up next. We have excellent speakers who can provide you with much more of the examples of how business can put into practice the children's rights and business principles, what some of the challenges are.
So I just want to say something here, guys. You saw that little piece of paper that I had before I put it away. Did you see that?
Yeah.
Yeah, there was a little piece of paper that I had in my hand before I put it away. And, oh, there goes Julia. And basically that was all that was really because they said, when you speak in front of the Queen, you have to say things in a certain way, Your Majesty, da, da, da. So I had to write that down because I couldn't remember it. But it's interesting that everything else, I realized that I don't have a script. I'm talking the whole presentation without a script. And that's because I know this content by heart. I know what I want to say so well. I've said it 100 times to so many different audiences. And that makes a huge difference when you know what you want to say. And I think you can come off pulling that a lot more naturally. And then here is my funny blooper. Here we go.
Can you all?
So my mic stopped working. My microphone stopped working here.
Hello? No, all microphones. They really want me to shut up, don't they, Tim?
And then the mic falls. But, you know, I just thought that's actually, it's okay to make fun of yourself. And Joe was kind of off stage going, okay, your presentation's gone too long, keep going, keep going. And I just said, hey, they turned all the microphones off because they want me to shut up. And I think afterwards people were like, they liked it. They maybe it was funny, maybe it wasn't funny, but it's okay. You can make fun of yourself, you know. Anyways, and this is in front of the Queen, guys, so it can't get more embarrassing than having your microphone fall down in front of the Queen. So
Due diligence, which is basically trying to assess and identify threats and remediate. So
oh, then the microphone
come back on now. Okay. So very quickly, the three.
So yeah, that's that was one thing I wanted to share, and then the other thing is a shameless plug for our camp, is a little video promo for the camp, and that's the last thing I'll do.
Hola chicos, summer is here and you want to travel but you can't? Don't you worry. I am Elizabeth and I want us to travel on a trip around the world at Nianum Summer Camp. Let's retrace the steps of the Inca civilization on the Inca Trail, the most famous trek in the world, and discover the mysteries of Machu Picchu. We will embark on a journey full of adventures alongside llamas and alpacas, on rocky paths and sacred mountains. Join us this summer to find out more about Peru and its secrets. So guys, backpacks on and be ready.
There we go. So great. Thank you so much, guys, and thank you, Anu, for this wonderful opportunity to have connected with all of this, your great class here. I'm 4 minutes over time. Where was the time?
Well, you did. You dropped the mic in a really good way. Mic drop.
Yeah.
So thank you. Thank you so much. I really do appreciate it. And what I usually do is my son is here taking down notes, and we usually put notes together, and I post it on LinkedIn, whatever we learned. And as what Subha mentioned, if you guys are interested in a camp, let me know, and I can connect you guys with her through email, because she's much faster over email compared to LinkedIn. So definitely let me know for sure. I think I have learned so much. I know I teach this stuff day in and day out to adults and to the youth, and I find kids absorb it much faster than adults. And I'm an adult, so I can say that. And everything that you touched upon, especially connecting, because when we start, when a lot of these students come to my class, most of the parents say, I want my child to be up there on stage and speak on stages. And my question to them is, for you or for the audience? Usually it starts off with the selfish intention of, I want everyone to notice my kids. And then I go through a process with these children saying, or with these students or members saying, whatever you do when you're up on stage, it is to the audience that you're giving. They're not up. The only reason they elevate you and make you a star speaker is because you connected with them. So I love, love, love the fact that you have come here today and talked to them about connecting with the audience. And that is why we learn public speaking. So we're up there really connecting and sharing our core message with people. So thank you so much for that.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right. Well, with that, thank you. And I will connect with you, Subha, for sure.
Perfect. Thanks so much, guys. Hope to see you in camp. Bye.
Yeah, bye. All right. So perfect. I think Enon, Zin, Deshaun, I think you guys are good to go. I'll see you on the Tuesday class. I hope you guys learned something from today. And Tanuja, yeah, I know. Yeah, see ya. Bye. Tanuja, I know you said you had to go too. Okay, I'll see you. All right. Hey, guys.
Hello. Oh, I found out something about, you know, our guest speaker last week?
Who was it?
The ally.
Yeah.
Yes.
Started with the D.
The girl, the white person that was offending the African man with the dog.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's a YouTube channel I was watching, well, not during this class, but after that, when kind of similar happened, and then they charged that woman, and the same, you know, the one he showed, they charged her for I think fake calling, and then some.
Oh, that's impressive. That's really good. Yeah, that's awesome. And that's awesome that you followed up and you looked at that YouTube video, which is really good. So it must have meant something to you. I also really appreciate how you presented yourself today, Nitin. I think I saw a completely different person today. So really good. Good job for that, Nitin. Good improvement there. Perfect. So first of all, tell me how your long weekend was. I know I asked when Subha's there, but what did you guys do in your long weekend?
Sad.
Weekend.
It was kind of sad. No, there's a reason too. Because
okay. I thought you were bored, so it's kind of sad.
Sorry? My mom got stitches on Tuesday.
Oh, that's not good. Did she fall?
No, she didn't fall. A badminton racket hit her. And no one knows how. That's the thing.
Were you playing badminton?
No, I wasn't there. I was home. So
who was she?
No one knows what happened. All we know is that badminton racket hit her and she got stitches.
So she doesn't know how the badminton racket hit her?
Yeah, so she knows she got hit it though. No one knows what happened.
Oh wow. It's a mystery. Or maybe she's trying to hide who did it. You know, she doesn't want anyone to go attack this poor person.
Yeah.
What about anyone else? Anything interesting that you guys did?
Just played Minecraft, really. That's really all I did.
Our family went to Peterborough last Sunday, I believe.
Wasn't there a park or something? It's a park somewhere. I forgot what it was.
Is that a park you went to, Mayura?
Yeah, there's a lot of parks there. It's very peaceful, the total opposite of Scarborough. No traffic at all.
I've been there once.
Was it a park? Was it a provincial park that you went to?
No, we were just like looking around Peterborough.
Oh, okay. They have a couple of provincial parks there. Yeah, that's awesome.
My sister wanted to go to the zoo there, but then the zoo was closed because of COVID.
Yeah, yeah.
Detroit, I think there's like this little path close to my house where there's like a gate saying Toronto Zoo.
Mm-hmm.
And no one knows like if it is or not because it's just a path that goes to another.
Yeah.
It's a drive-through. Toronto Zoo.
Drive-through. Yeah, Toronto Zoo is a drive-through.
Yeah.
I see Mayura I raising her hand. Yeah.
For us, we went to a nice park, like with some cousin stuff, and I brought a really good book, and there was a stream, and I just sat and read for hours.
Oh,
It was
wow.
really nice. And then we biked around, and I got to bike home, like instead of driving. So it was like a nice 20-minute bike back home. It was really fun.
Oh, wow. That's awesome. That sounds very peaceful, for sure.
I just left my phone at home, no technology.
No device.
Yeah.
That's excellent.
Yeah.
So I did that for the cottage that I went to. I went to Prince Edward County, and I tried to do not 100%. It was a 3-day long weekend. I went on Friday, so 4 days for me. And I tried to keep the phone away and just sat there and enjoyed. I don't know if you noticed, there's a slight tan. Yeah, I was mostly out in the sun, but it was really beautiful. Yeah. Anyone else? Did anything? Yeah, Madhurin?
Our cousins came over on Sunday, I think. They visited. Yeah.
And it was at your place?
Yeah.
Okay, and it was a Sunday, so I guess it's a good thing we didn't have iLeap, right? Otherwise, you'd be stuck with me while they're all there.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. Anyone else? How about Shangit, Khadija, Dahlia? Nothing?
I'm planning for my birthday since it's like next week, so you have to plan for it.
Sorry?
My birthday's next week, and we have to start planning.
Oh, nice. Is it on Sunday?
No, it's on Thursday.
Oh, it's on Thursday. Well, happy early birthday to you.
Happy early birthday.
Like start planning like what we have to get, what we don't have to get.
How old are you turning?
13.
13?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, you are officially a teenager. Are you feeling any difference?
No.
You feel like I've got this world, I'm going to rebel against it, or you're with me?
Okay.
Anything? No. Yeah, I didn't feel that either, but some people say, oh, when they're teenagers, things change. I'm like, okay.
Education is more important.
Even when I turned 13, I didn't feel like I matured at all. I felt like I went more immature instead of mature.
I went
That's what they say about teenagers.
I went kind of mature because I got like a different laptop at my school. Since I did this to my sister.
Mayura I is like, I can't even believe this. I can't believe I'm taking this class. Oh my God, ridiculous.
It's like from Ivy to something rude.
Okay, you go through a phase. Now, come on. Don't tell me you don't go through a phase.
A little phase, but we're not all like rebellious. You like want to destroy the world.
When I turned 13, I felt only a bit older since, like, compared to all my cousins, I had a way deeper voice.
Yeah.
Way taller than everyone. So, and
yeah, he's like 10 inches taller than me, and I'm a year older than him. So that's like, really?
You're 13, Shangi?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Yes, I did. I do recognize you have a deep voice, but like some people, like myself as well, we have deep voices, just naturally have deep voices. I didn't realize, oh, wow, 13.
Before, when I was 12, I had like a very squeaky voice and like a very like, high voice. And then after I got my low voice, and then I came to right before my birthday, I went to the park, and now I go to the park every Thursdays. Whenever someone sees me for the first time, they're like shocked and everything.
Yeah, I went to his birthday party like in the end of June 28th, and I didn't see him since like the start of March. So like he grew so much. He was already like way taller than me before, and now he's just like 10 inches taller than me now.
I guess I can't tell because he's sitting down, but maybe when when you get up, and if I'm in person, I probably.
I'm curious now. What's your height?
Yeah.
4.
I'm
5.
5 something. I know that.
You're 5'4"?
Yeah.
Holy cow! You're only 3.5 inches shorter than me.
I'm 5 something. I know that. So.
Two. That's kind of. That's a little hit to my pride. Okay.
Ron is so tall.
Whatever I said about teenagers.
You're 5'7"?
I'm 5'7.5". Oh, who's 5'7"?
No, you.
Oh yes, yes. I'm 5'7", 7.5". I used to say I was 5'8", and then someone corrected me like 5'7.5". By the way, I'll give the half inch off.
13 now.
Yeah.
Last year was 10. Last year was 9. Now it's the year before that's 8. So
Yeah.
now size 10.5.
All right. Well, I wanted to spend today's class, part of today's, actually, I'm going to spend all of today's class going through the evaluations that you got. So I wanted to know, first of all, did you guys get the evaluations?
Yes.
Email evaluations. Yes. Yeah. Yes. Did you guys get a chance to read through it? Yes. Okay. So that is exactly what we're going to be discussing today, because first of all, I wanted to tell you the people who evaluated you, they are either speaking coaches. One of them who evaluated the top 3, her daughter is a news anchor. She's a speech coach herself. She's released a book. So these are people who are in the industry who do this day in and day out, mostly with adults, actually always with adults, but they're more than happy to support you guys and help. And one of the best things that they would love to see is they've spent time, especially Cindy. Cindy spent time going through all of your speeches. And do you know how much effort it is to go through all of your speeches and then evaluate all of your speeches? That's a lot of effort for someone who we don't even know. I mean, who she doesn't know you guys yet. And I'm hoping to bring her in at one point when she's available to talk to you guys. So what I would love for you guys to do is actually take the time to tell me what you learned from that evaluation and how you're going to improve your speech so that your next speech that we're going to be doing for this module, how can that be improved? So if you can share with me, each one of you, open up, do you guys have the link to the evaluations? Yes?
I opened mine just now. Again.
Okay, why don't you put the link on the chat for everyone?
Oh, I did.
Nathan.
Yeah, wait, I deleted it by accident. I tabbed it.
I can get the link.
Yeah, okay. If you can post the link.
There's so much things happening because yesterday on Friday I checked. I don't check on Fridays, and I see like a bunch of emails. So I made sure.
Post a link to the drive. I don't know if that's available for everyone.
It is.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, okay. So then it'll automatically sign you in then.
Yeah.
What the?
So can you guys open it? Let me know if you cannot so that I can share it with another email.
I'm able to open it with Mayura Eyes link.
Well, I'm gonna copy it just in case people can't get it.
No, I think people are good. If people are not able to open it, let me know. Just raise your hands. Dahlia, I know you didn't do it this time, but it's very, very useful for you to actually go through the evaluations, Dahlia, so that you can see what the expectation is when you give a speech here, right? Are you able to hear me, Dahlia?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. So why don't we go, so I know Tanuja got 3 evaluations. The person, Laura, who gave her the final evaluation, she went into a lot of things. I think it'll take a little more, and I want Tanuja to be in class when we do that, so it won't be, by the way, I won't be there for next class, but you guys all are going to be there for next class. It's going to be another teacher. Another teacher is going to come and teach you guys. I am unavailable. I'm going camping with my kids, so I will not be there for next class, but not to worry, class is still on, and Anto will come and teach you guys. I know, excellent. She's a cool person. She'll come and teach you guys. I'll tell her what the content is and everything, and she will come and cover that class for you guys. And then I'll come the class after with another guest speaker and give you details about that as well. Okay?
Who's the teacher again?
Anto.
So
Anto, yeah.
Do we have a guest speaker that day?
No, no, because I won't be there.
Yeah.
When there's a guest speaker, they would expect me to be there because I'm the one bringing them. They'd be like, hey, yeah, manage my class would not be a good thing to do with a guest speaker.
Is the teacher a boy?
No.
Okay.
A girl. Yeah.
Is it called Antonia?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, I was also going to say Antonia.
Oh, okay, yes, you call her Antonia. Right, yes. So
She's
Antonia
my
is...
sister's ILEAP teacher.
Okay, yeah. So she will be here to teach you guys and cover my class. And I will come the class after with a guest speaker. And that guest speaker is someone who's released a book and is going to talk to you about how to release, if you're interested in releasing a children's book or writing a book and publishing it. She is right now in that area and she's going to talk about that. So that's her focus about talking to you guys. And then I have another guest speaker who's going to come and talk to you not on August 9th. So the first guest speaker is about releasing a book. The next guest speaker is about how to market yourself and how to brand yourself. So he runs his own company and he's a marketing expert and he's going to talk about that. And then you guys get a break because it's Labor Day weekend. And then the next speaker is going to talk about selling and how you can sell yourself. So sales and marketing is very different. So there. I got a couple of speakers lined up, so don't worry about that. But next class, I won't be here. I know you guys will miss me so much, so much, so much. That's what I want to tell. Yeah, yeah. I especially is going to miss me. But for today, let's touch on Mayura first, the evaluation that Mayura got, and then I'd like to go through everyone else's. And please, guys, the intent of this is that you sign up for speaking roles, and I want to see this incorporated. I prefer a different speech. I don't want the same speech. So, for example, with Mayura, I think you've done that speech a couple of times. I want Mayura B. You've done that speech a couple of times. I want you to come up with a different speech now, but with the same evaluations that you got so that we can infuse it and make it even better. But maybe Mayura that's the first time I heard that speech, and there's a lot of things that we can do with that speech. So you can still use that speech and make it better, right? But I really want you guys to sign up for speaking roles and use this evaluation, because the idea now is to videotape, show this to Cindy, because she took the time out to give all the evaluation. She's looking to see, hey, was there any improvement? Was there any value add in what I gave? And that's the hopes so that these people will still keep giving you the evaluations that you need. Yeah, Mayura B.
What's the contest this time?
So this time, the focus that was given to me, this module, is about study skills. And it's a contest about like healthy lifestyle, about how you can improve study skills, and a speech on that. We can talk about that. I'm willing to, I'm trying to see if that's motivating, or we can try another route. I will be touching on concepts of study skills. I will also be touching on concepts of how to incorporate narration and dialogue. You remember the 5 C's that we talked about last module?
Yes.
So this module, we're going to talk about how we can incorporate narration. So, when you narrate a story, and dialogue, how to incorporate dialogue between two people, internal dialogue, all those things. So that's another higher level, because your speeches right now are mostly, this is what I think about the subject, right? But like what Suba talked about, we need to work on our storytelling skills. So incorporating those 5 C's, not forgetting those 5 C's, incorporating that, and then dialogue. So we're going to work on incorporating dialogue and making the speech even more foundational. So we don't necessarily, I'm not stuck to doing a speech on study skills, but we need to figure that one out.
And is that going to be a recorded speech, like we pre-record it?
Yeah, it's easier for me to do the recorded, because when I get guest speakers come in, we don't have time. And plus, getting people to come in at this time to evaluate your speeches. I'm not able to get the really good evaluators at this time. Like if I was to ask one of the people who evaluated you, they wouldn't have time to come from 1 to 3 and listen to all your, as much as they would love to, giving up their Sunday afternoon to listen to all your speeches would take a lot of their time. So they're willing to watch the videos and give you the evaluation. But we must show them that we've improved, right? If they see the same kind of caliber, then they're gonna come back to me and go, I think I gave the same evaluation, right? So that's very, very important. So let's go through Mayura's. So Mayura, the evaluation that you got, let's look at Cindy's first. And all of you can open it up if you want, or we can, actually, let me share my screen. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. So she, because it's 2:30, the positives are always great. You guys know your positives, read it, absorb it. You guys are at a much higher level in public speaking than your classmates. I hope you know that. I hope you realize that you guys are at a much better level. So the positives are always there for you to read. And I always think very highly of you guys. So keep reading that. So the way she's given evaluation is positive, interesting, and I'd like to focus on the change and the comments. So with her change, she talked about reading notes, and I really, really want you guys to steer away from reading notes. You guys are now advanced speakers, right? And if you want to be advanced speakers, you have to steer away from reading notes. That little piece of paper should be no more. And it's okay to make, I'd rather you make the mistake in class, like make mistakes when you're blurting out stuff. But if you're reading stuff, it just does not connect with the audience. So mindset shift, you're talking for the audience needs to see your face. And that means try unscripted speaking, right? Very, very important. So try that. That's for everyone, but Mayura for sure. Watch for background noises. So the next time when you do this videotape, just make sure that there is no background noise, listen to yourself and ensure that that's not there. I noticed that she mentioned up talk to a lot of people. Does anyone know what up talk means?
No.
No. No? Does anyone know? I'm sorry, now I'm seeing no. So this is when I send out evaluations, and if you do read it, and if you have any questions, I would love to see an email from you and say, what does up talk mean? Okay, but that's for next time. If you don't understand something, email me, shoot me an email. Then I know that you've read it. I know you're interested in upping your game. Up talk is when you ask a question. So how are you doing today, right? You notice when you ask a question, the last word goes high in pitch. So how are you doing, right? What am I supposed to do, right? That doing, there's a bit of a pitch, a high pitch. But when you're saying a statement like, there was a little uptalk in places, watch the background noise. That I'm exaggerating here. That's not how you sounded, Mayura. I'm just exaggerating. But when you say that, when you say watch the background noise, it sounds like, well, is Anu asking me a question or is Anu stating a sentence, right? If I was stating a sentence, I would say, watch the background noise, Mayura. If I was asking the question, I would be like, watch the background noise. So then you don't want to sound like you're asking the audience a question. So when someone says that there was a little uptalk in places, she was unsure whether you're asking her the question, like, are you asking me or are you telling me? You should never leave the audience with that sense of, are you asking me a question or are you telling me? Are you advising me? Do you get what I mean? Yes, everyone?
Yes.
Yeah. So a lot of you, I think I read all of the evaluations, I absorbed it, and I do agree that, and it's very hard when you start becoming a seasoned speaker, you have more control over your pitch. And the best way to do that is by recording yourself. Only when, and it's great that we're doing videos because you can hear yourself again and again. So with this evaluation, Mayura and everyone else, I would love for you to read this and then go back to your video and say, was there really background noise? Where was the uptalk in places? Now, she didn't give specific areas. She noticed it. So notice when you are trying to say a sentence, and instead of saying it as a sentence, it sounds like a high pitch. So watch the background noise. If you ever say that, you know, oh, I need to tone it down. That was not a question. And being aware of it is the first step. And the second step is trying to control your tone, right?
I have a question.
Yes.
In the interesting part, it says slides were effective, although it would have been more effective if there were no blank screens. But
So,
as you said, if you add black screens.
Right. So with Cindy, she prefers no blank screens. And the reason is because the way you were in the picture. So you were just a small picture over there, and then it was a blank screen. Usually when you see videos, if it's a blank screen, then your whole picture comes up, right? Do you get what I mean?
Yeah. I tried to make it like that, but it wouldn't work. So I just left it as a small screen.
Right. So you've got now till 8 weeks from now to work on that. Right? You have now till 8 weeks from now, which is when your next competition is going to be, and say, hey, I figured it out. I figured out how to bring it. Because when you are on stage and doing it, obviously we do the black screen, right? The blank screen. We blank the screen and we'll talk so that everyone looks at us. But when it's a video, you need yourself to be the full video, right? And that's where her feedback came from. And so that's a very good question. So for everyone else who's doing that. And when you say in conclusion, have you come on screen? Exactly that. Just work on trying to figure out how to put the whole screen. And another thing, I've asked Tanuja because she did a video I don't know, has anyone watched Tanuja's speech over here? Shangeet did, Mayura, Ashwin, okay. I do encourage all of you guys to watch Tanuja's speech because it was a little different. It was more a GoCast speech, and I've asked her to come and tell you guys how she did the speech, how she did the editing and all that. So not next class, but the class after, she'll work on doing something and explaining to you guys how she came up with the speech. So it would be very helpful if you guys actually watched her speech to understand what she did. And there, Mayura, it might help you use the application that she used to give your speech for the next one, right? This is all about trying and helping each other improve. All right. Okay, so that was, okay, who'd like to go next? Wait, should I stop sharing? Stop share. Who's next on my thing? Who's my next victim? No, I'm just kidding. Mayura, did you have any questions? No, okay. I have Shangeet next. So Shangeet, you can open up your evaluation. Share screen. Okay, so with Shangeet, again, there was a little, the positives, please read it. I'm not trying to, you know, overlook your positives. You guys are really great. Read your interesting and your positive. The change, there was a little up talk. Here, the next one I really loved. When we talk, we have to be very careful about our audience. We have to be caring for our audience. And there are certain words that are called trigger words. Trigger is something which can be positive, but mostly it's negative. And what that means is when you call someone an old woman, right? First of all, women, they don't like to be old. They don't like to be called old. We worry about our wrinkles and we do all sorts of things to make ourselves look young. And so when you say old woman, and the fitness, and your thing is about fitness, and trust me, your audience is women, because women are the ones who really try and get fit and all that. That's a bigger population. My son is like, no, but that is the bigger group of audience that you'll have. And so the minute you call them old woman, they're gonna be like, I'm not gonna listen to this kid. This kid doesn't know nothing. And we don't want that. So to connect, yes, they are old. We are getting older for sure. But another way of saying it is senior, a lady, right? And even in your conversation, it's very, very useful to say those things. So these are, remember these words when you write out your speech. This is for all of you again. Think about your audience and think about the psychology of your audience, right? Just like how I said, teenagers, oh, they must be going through some hormonal thing. And Mayura, I was like, what the heck are you talking about? And all of a sudden I lose Mayura as my potential audience for this class, right? Which was not my intention. Of course, I was just joking about it. And I feel like I can because my kids are getting to that point. But you could lose people who don't know you, right? So Shangit, that's for you and that's for everyone as well. Watch what you, watch your script, read your script and see how my script will impact the audience. Read less, look at the camera. I think a lot of people got that. Possibly have you on full screen at the beginning instead of a blank slide, okay? All right. Oh, I think Mayuri, you had the one from Catherine. Oof, I forgot to. Sorry,
Yeah.
let me just go back to Catherine. Catherine McKenzie. This is the one. Does anyone know Carolyn McKenzie from Global News?
No.
I might. I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah, if you watch Global News, I'm not sure. I guess maybe your parents might know if they watch Global News. She's a pretty well-versed anchor over there, a news anchor. All right, so with Mayura, what she talked about was the law of primacy, where people remember what they see and hear first. Remember what I talked to you guys about when you come on stage, the first 7 seconds are impactful. You need to give the audience some time to just absorb you on stage. Some people actually tend to stand there and wait quietly for the audience to refocus on them. They don't just come up and they don't just say something, or they come up and then they say something and then they pause, right? So this is the law of primacy. When you, all of you, when you do a video speech, really take in that time to pause, really take in that time when you're giving a quote to pause. Don't feel like I need to go through this speech no matter what. Think about the audience. So let's change that mindset about it's the audience, okay? I think that's the one thing from here. The second thing she talked about, again, very, very useful for all of you to understand. You guys can see my screen, right? Yes?
Yep.
Yeah, okay. The second thing is get into the habit of saying what you will pick or what you will hear or discover rather than I want to share with you. So this is another way of, because think about it, you guys are going to be I know public speaking is a big thing. You guys want to be on stage, but eventually when you become adults, the reason why you're doing public speaking is to persuade people to do something, right? Just like what Subha said, it's not about facts, but it's about persuading people to do something. I want to go to the moon. I want to go to Mars. So imagine if Elon Musk came up to you and told you all the facts about living in Mars. But more so are, he's talking about the earth getting really crowded, there's climate change, there's all those issues. So I want to be able to give human beings another opportunity to move into another planet. And that is possible. So when he talks like that, you almost connect with him, right? And the way you talk is about using the you, what you will pick up. Just like what Subha said at the end, what you are going to get out of me are these 3 messages about how to connect with the audience and how to write your messages. So what you will pick up is this. It's always what the audience will pick up rather than I want to share this. I want to do this. I want you to go to Mars. I want you to, go to the zoo. Rather than that, you say, if you want to learn about animal life, what you would learn about animal life, and I don't know what's exciting about the zoo, but what you would pick up from animal life, you can go to the zoo and pick it up, something like that. And this was very deliberate, but just that's another thing that you should incorporate. Okay, I think that's basically it with the improvements that she mentioned. Okay, so Shangit, we covered you.
She also said don't say thank you at the end. Like,
Yeah.
what's the bad thing of saying thank you at the end?
I think, oh, I thought I covered this with you guys, but never, ever, ever. If you look at motivational speakers, if you look at TED Talks, they rarely say thank you. They leave with impact. The idea is to leave with impact. That's why I always say, when remember when you introduce, when you come and talk on stage, the first time when you gave a speech, what would you say? Hi, my name is Mayura. I'm here to talk about that. And I would be like, that is boring. Don't do that. Never do that. You're taught to do that, but that's not the right thing to do, because people don't connect with that. People connect with how you said something, whether you connected with them. So when you end, the conclusion has to be a quote, has to be an end of a story, right? Like even when you're reading a novel, the author doesn't say at the end, thank you for reading my book. He or she leaves it with the ending of the story, right, Mayura? Mayura B?
Yes.
Yeah. You never read a story where they say thank you, maybe in the acknowledgements, whatever, but never the story. And so you are telling a story. There is no need for you to thank us, but leave us with that impact. Leave us with that one message. Make us think. Leave us with a message that'll make us think, go, oh my God, right? Whoa, I never thought about that. And really take away with that rather than, and you have to remember that's what an impactful speech is. They have to remember your goal in this class especially is that someone remembers your speech 6 months from now. I should be able to say, Mayura's speech 6 months ago about that, and everyone should be shaking their head and go, yeah, I remember that. That's our goal, right? For now, our goal will be like, remember Mayura's speech from 1 month ago? And people should shake their head and say, yes, I remember that speech. That's our goal. And so it's very, very important that your conclusion should be a really strong ending, which makes people think rather than, oh, thank you for listening to me. Well, thank you for coming up on stage, right? Did I answer that question, or did you feel like, oh, this?
Thank you.
Sorry?
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. No problem. All right. Okay, so the next one I have is Nitin. Okay, let's go through Nitin's. Okay, so Nitin, you had reading less, and you realized that you were reading a lot. It comes across, and that's, I really, really want you guys to move away from reading. I know speech making is a last minute thing. Even if it's actually, I don't encourage it being a last minute thing, because one of the things, I think Shangit, who told about practice, when you practice a lot, you're a lot more confident. And I really want that mindset shift for you guys about practicing your speech. I know that whatever I'm speaking about is for the audience. So reading about it, if I spent this time reading everything, like if I went reading less, will give you a better chance at making eye contact. Even though you are virtual, it can help connect with your audience. There was a little up talk in places, almost a questioning tone. Slow down a bit and have more pauses if you're not reading so much. If I ran this class like that, 100% all of you would drop out from this class, right? And so you need to put yourself in that position and say, I want people to come and get my message, understand the message. And so to be a powerful speaker, I need to look at the camera. I need to know my subject inside out and speak about it, right? I ask you guys to memorize the introduction and the conclusion, but I think you guys are at a stage where you need to have your speech. You need to know your speech, whatever you're speaking about. You need to know your speech and be able to look into the camera and speak at this point. So we need to work on that. There was a little up talk in places. We talked about up talk, slow down a bit, have more pauses. These are the basic things about public speaking that everyone has to incorporate. And we struggle with the pauses. So Nitin, for sure, the next speech. And I would love for you guys to sign up for speaking roles, all of you. Sign up for speaking roles, please. Next week's calendar looks pretty blank. That's not how we want it to keep going. So please sign up for roles. That's something we'll spend some time doing. Nitin, do you have questions? Did you share this with your parents? I know some of your parents don't have
I shared part of it. I had to show it again. I showed my mom partly. Like
You shared it with your mom? Okay. Did she have any questions?
no.
No? Okay.
Like any questions, I might share it to her, so she might ask it again.
Okay. All right. All right. So what happened? Oh, I was like, whoa, did I delete that? Okay. Mayura I. Again, all the positive interest. If you have any questions on that, Mayura I, are you able to open it, Mayura?
Oh yeah, I read through it.
Okay. All right. And so your change is when you showed the words educate and talk about it, use cardstock instead of regular paper. I know it was, you were trying to do this all last minute.
Yeah.
But it's very, very important. One thing I want to tell you, all of you, I know you guys are still not active on LinkedIn. I think Tanuja and C-Ron are the only ones. Tanuja is heavily active on LinkedIn. I've seen that. She's commented on people and all that. And C-Ron, I've noticed him come on LinkedIn. But if you go on LinkedIn, you'll notice that a lot of things are now more video. Instagram, TikTok, Snapchat, they're all videos, right? So your generation is going to be video. It's going to be the video generation. That's how you're going to communicate. Face-to-face might be gone. You are the TikTok generation, right? So in that situation, we have to make sure a lot of things happen. So for example, when you put a video out, we tell people you need to have captions. Why do you need to have captions? Because people are on the subway, they're watching the video, they might not be listening to you speak, but they're reading the words, the captions. So if you have cardstock, it's a little more professional. Of course, you use applications like AutoCap and all that to put captions. Yeah. And that will make your video look much more professional. And that's why I encourage you guys to look at Tanuja's video. And there are a lot of other videos out there. Tanuja, because she's in your class, but there's a lot of videos out there on the public forum. If you guys have TikTok or Snapchat or whatever, you'll notice that they make it really professional. So for you, Mayura, and because she's noticed that you are older, I told her that you're in high school. She really felt that, video is your thing. You need to, it would really help you elevate, because you are at a stage in your life where you're going to be going for interviews, and they're probably going to be video interviews.
Yeah.
Okay. I mentioned this to you before, Mayura, slow down, right? The message was great. I really, really love the message, but your message can get lost because of the pace at which you spoke. And that has always been a struggle, I know. But I think knowing this, being aware that I'm telling you this, and now another person who is a professional coach herself is telling you that, you want to be aware of the fact, yeah, if I slow down, my message is going to be even more impactful, right? Okay. All right, who's next? Who's my next victim? Love calling you guys victims. No, I don't. Mother N. All right. Any questions, Mother N? On what?
No.
No? You got minimized reading, more vocal variety? Yeah. I really, really want to see better vocal variety. I'm trying to get a voice coach to come and do a guest speaking role. I've reached out to a couple of people, and voice coaching is, I mean, of course, if you get into that industry, if you get into the speaking industry, or if you get into the acting industry, then voice coaching is very important. So hopefully I can get someone. But till then, you're going to learn from me and improve that vocal variety. So for you, Mother N, bring a speech to class, and we're going to work on specifically that vocal variety and the pauses. I know for the next 8 sessions, I really want you to improve on that. You're definitely capable of it, more than capable of it. We just really need to work on that. The smile, right? Not always a smile, but of course you were talking about stress and anxiety. You can't always be like, oh, it's so great to be stressed and anxiety, have anxiety. No, but you talked about strategies, and you talked about someone overcoming it. And that's when you have that smile come into place, okay? and pausing longer for emphasis, even more damaging. We talked about that as well. When you really want the audience to think, you have to pause so that they're curious, they're wondering, they're impacted, and they get some time to process what you just said. Okay? Okay, cool. Who's next? Khadija. So Khadija, I did the evaluation for you because the video, I was not able to send across the video. She wanted it all online and everything. So it was me who gave you the evaluation. And my comments was for the change, what was Dinah's turning point? So remember the 5 C's that we talked about? Khadija, are you there? Oh, is she frozen? Am I frozen, guys? No.
No, you're not frozen.
She said yes.
Did Khadija say yes?
Oh, camera off or something. Something's wrong with her camera.
Yeah, I can't see her either.
Oh, she said yes. I can see her. She said yes.
Hey, Khadija? Can you unmute yourself?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Oh, okay. All right. Perfect. Maybe keep yourself unmuted and maybe talk a little so that I know that you're there. So I gave you the thing, and my thing was on the 5 C's. I loved your story, but one of the major things in the 5 C's was what? Change, right? Which is there, the change. What was the conflict? So you talked about Diana having bulimia and then she becoming healthy. But that's like once upon a time there was a princess and she married a prince and lived happily ever after. What's the story in between? You know, you need to have that story in between. What's that change? So she had bulimia and then she improved herself. She improved her health. She had a lifestyle change. But what made that lifestyle change? Why was she suffering with bulimia? It's that story that's going to connect me to you, right? Oh my God, Princess Diana went through that. And if I'm going through that, then I will connect with you and with Princess Diana. And I know that there is a possibility that I can become better. Right, Khadija? So that's one thing. And working on knowing your content so that we can see your eyes, right? A lot of you, this was for everyone. It's not just for you. It was for a majority of you guys. You guys were reading, you could tell, and we need to move away from that. So my comments was state what the turning point of the story is and emphasize on certain words. We need to, that's again, a majority of you emphasizing on certain words. I know I keep repeating myself, guys. So if you want me to stop repeating myself and start talking to you about more higher level things about public speaking, we need to clean up all these, you know, beginner level public speaking issues, which is pauses, which is vocal variety, which is stop reading. Then I can go and hit the really high stuff, right? Like narration, dialogue, and all those things. So please, 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 please include those things in your speeches. Khadija, did you have any questions?
No.
Okay. Next is Kavya. Okay, so Kavya. All right. Again, read through all your positives, interesting, want to stress that. A little rocking back and forth, right? And I think you do, I didn't notice that. And then then I went back to your speech and I realized, oh yeah, okay. So these are things that other people catch and I'm so used to seeing you guys. But when you stand, I noticed that there is that rocking back and forth. And for the next speech, I would love for you guys to now stand up and speak so that I can actually see you guys, how you are when you stand up and speak. So if you can please do that from the next class onwards, stand up, speak so that I can see your body language. I haven't seen you guys for such a long time in class. And now we need to work on this on the video. So let's do that. And avoid rocking back and forth and instead walking. Don't walk like this, but let's work on the purposeful walking. Use hand gestures when referring to one group, two group, three group. Suggest adding deliberate pauses, again, pauses. Changing someone's whole world, pause. Kindness spreads, pause. Natural phenomenon, pause, right? These are beautiful words. Like your content is always so good, Kavya. It's, again, the same struggle that Mayura I has, right? The content is so powerful, but when you just say it, it's just like, oh, what did she say? Wait, did she say something powerful? Oh, wait, no, she's saying something else powerful. Oh, no, now she's saying, just give that audience that time to just, let us sink in the powerful words that you're saying. All right, and pause there. Okay. Any questions on your evaluation? Okay. No one seems to have any questions. Ashwin. So your video was interesting, Ashwin. It was only the video. I didn't see you at all. I guess I should change the rules. I need to see you guys in your videos. It's important to see you because the idea is you giving the speech. If you are going to be a YouTube star, I know people in YouTube who earn money by outsourcing, by doing videos, and they talk in the background. You don't earn so much money out of that. Maybe $100 a month, which is not a lot. So you really want to be that person who comes out and speaks in front. So that's our focus. I want to make sure that all of you, when you do future videos, and Ashwin, it was only Ashwin's video, make sure I see you in that video, okay? So that's for future stuff. And Dahlia, since you haven't done a video for the future video, that's important that you do that. Change. At the beginning, you said, let me ask. It is more powerful to state the full word, let me ask, right? When you ask a question, ask it, not in a slang way. It depends who your audience is. At this point, your audience are professionals, are people here, they're professionals, they're used to the proper English language. So let's work on that. But of course, if you're talking to a bunch of kids and want to be cool with them, that's totally different. But that's not the audience right now. So really focus on each one of your words. And because that's the beginning of your speech, you really need to emphasize on those words. Leave the slides visible until the next point you make, instead of blank slides, maroon colored curtains and all that. That's kind of distractions, she felt. Watch background noise, as it can be distracting. Same thing as Mayura B, right? When you do your video, just watch your background noise. I think all of this evaluation really does help all of you. It's not just to that particular person. Did you guys have any questions on the evaluations that was given? No? Okay. So the next thing, I want you to go in. I know Mayura is the, so can you see my screen? Meeting list? Yes? You see it? You see this beauty?
Yes, we can see it.
You see this? None. Not good. I need each and every one of you to go in right now and sign up for speaking roles for next week. Please don't be scared. And it's not going to be me. It's going to be Antonia. I hear she's really sweet. So you're not going to get a tougher evaluation here.
As compared to you?
Yeah, exactly. I'm okay with that. So definitely sign up, please, guys. And for all, there's a really strong reason why I put out these meetings for you guys. It's because I really want you guys to improve on your speeches and presentations. So can you please sign up for roles, and especially for next week, because I won't be here. She'll just be going through all the speeches and presentations, giving you guys evaluations, and then doing a case study and all that. Back to, do you remember the good old days when I didn't bring speakers in? That's how it's going to be, right? So please sign up for those roles. And 2020, and Mayura, you are going to be the chair. I will send you the bio for the guest speaker for August 23rd. And I know Tanuja is going to be presenting. So I'll ask her to sign up for the presentation role, because she's going to present on how she she did the video for her presentation, but there is a lot of speaking roles over here that's available. So please, you know, I want to see at least 2 people, but I would love to see everyone, right? And we can go through that so that we can work on that. And the other thing is I'm going to be covering dialogue this time. And my evaluations are going to be on the 5 C's and the dialogue whenever you're evaluating the speaker. Okay? Good stuff? Yes?
Yep.
All right. Perfect. So I know it's 3 or 4. As always, I keep you a little late, but I hope you learned so much from my class. And let me stop sharing. I don't know if you can see me, but I will see you guys. When am I going to see you guys?
Next week.
Yeah, 23rd.
Yep.
Yeah.
August 23rd. August 23rd is when I'm going to see you guys. You will see Antonia next class.
Bye-bye.
All right?
Bye.
All right. See you guys. Take care. Bye.
Bye.
Yeah? Yeah, Dahlia.
I kind of have some questions.
Of course. Yes, go ahead. Shangit, are you okay?
Yeah, I also have a question.
Oh, you have a question. Okay. Yeah. Let me